Today, we're gonna talk about not 1, not 3, not 5, not 7, not 10, but 11 short books that you can read in a day. I always find myself searching for these videos when I'm out of inspiration, when I don't have a set TBR, in case you find yourself in a reading slump. If you need something to get you out of it, I think short books are the best way to go. But good short books that draw you in. You just want to know what happens, or the writing is really good and nothing really happens, or it's an author that you love but never knew they wrote a story like that. Buckle up, baby, because we're going on a ride. All right. I do have my laptop with me because I made a list, not in any particular order, but I did give an order to them. So if you see me looking down, it's me looking at my laptop because I need some order in my thoughts. All right, the first book on our list, Journey's End by R.C. Sheriff. I don't know where I heard about this book. I just know that I had the chance to read it. I got a copy. I didn't buy it though. Somebody gave it to me. And it's the only play in this list, so I thought it'd be perfect to start with it. On the back of the book it says, its unrelenting tension and its regard for human decency are impressive and even now moving. Set during the First World War, Journey's End concerns the lives of a group of British officers on the front line and opens in a dugout in the trenches in France. Raleigh, I think is how you pronounce his name. A new 18-year-old officer, fresh out of English public school, joins the besieged company of his friend and cricketing hero Stanhope and finds him dramatically changed and remains a great anti-war classic. Listen, just to clarify, I didn't read all of these books in a day, but you can. This is an exception. I did read this in a day because it was so good. It's interesting because I don't usually gravitate towards plays at all. I don't read plays. I think the other play that I've read is The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, and I loved that too. So I don't know why I don't read more plays. I don't know. I don't remember much about this book, but one of the things that I remember is that it's written very straightforward. It's straight to the point. From what I can remember, I might be wrong. The dialogue flowed so beautifully. I mean, isn't that what a play actually is? 90% of it is dialogue. So you gotta be good at writing dialogue if you write a play. And I also know that R.C. Sheriff fought in the First World War, and that's why he got the incentive to write it. Look at his face. That looks like a good man. The next one is Demian by Hermann Hesse. I'm not sure how his name is pronounced. I just know that I love the guy. I read Siddhartha. Actually, first I read Steppenwolf, and then I read Siddhartha a couple years after. So I knew that I liked his writing. And Siddhartha I absolutely loved. But I think that's a book that it takes you more than one day to digest it and feel it and understand it. The synopsis says, Emile Sinclair is a troubled young outsider, but everything changes when he meets Max Demian, a mysterious and charismatic older student who reveals the glittering possibilities that lie beyond conventional thinking and ordinary life. The relationship between these two characters, you get to see Emile, actually Sinclair is what everyone calls him. You get to see him grow up, you get to see him mature, going through school, through university, falling in love, and you get to see this beautiful friendship with Demian. It's really funny how this book was so short and yet it was concentrated. I always found myself rooting for Sinclair, and their friendship was unique. It reminded me of, I think it was A Tough Heart by Dostoevsky. What was it? Oh, it was A Faint Heart. So the friendship described in Demian reminded me very much of the friendship described in A Faint Heart. They were beautiful, intense. I found myself really envying them. I think I need to work on my friendships. 3 Types of Solitude by Brian Aldiss. It's quite short, and the writing is so that your grandma can read it. The brief late trilogy contains much of his lively humor of all this is humor. One improbable invention and the pervasive sense of loneliness and longing. Yeah, I don't know how much I have to say about this book because I read it 2 years ago. I know it's a collection of 3 short stories as the title entails. I'm gonna read you some quotes that I underlined. At home, a brook of fresh water flows by our little house. My love for you is like that. Always clear, always renewed. I know I will always, always love you and crave your company. What was I going through? But what would be the point of it being exactly like the real thing? Their pre-programmed speeches are triggered by pauses in the other's monologues. I stood apart from her. My desire was no longer for her, only for our past, our mutual past, when our beds had been permanently disheveled. Oh my god, I can't believe I underlined this one. Sadness is just happiness in reverse. We humans have to put up with it. Just being human is an awful burden to bear. Regardless of the stupid quotes I chose to underline in this book, you might enjoy it. Number 4 is probably my favorite book on this list. I have never seen it anywhere on BookTube, but on one channel, shout out to CSOP, The Machine Stops by E.M. Forster. It contains 2 stories, The Machine Stops and The Celestial Omnibus. In The Machine Stops, humanity has isolated itself beneath the ground, enmeshed in automated comforts. And in The Celestial Omnibus, a young boy takes a trip his parents believe impossible. And keep in mind, it was written in 1909. That blows my brains out. Which means it was written before 1984 and before Brave New World. The Machine Stops is a lesser known sci-fi story that achieves what 1984 and Brave New World have achieved after it, right? If you choose just one book out of all of the books that I'm gonna show you today, please choose The Machine Stops. Look at Forster. He's so immersed in his thoughts. Number 5. Would you look at that cover? It is beautiful. The Clash of Images is an enchanting collection of linked stories set in a coastal city of memories. It is a time when the old Arabic world of texts and oral traditions is making way for something new. The modern era of the image, the comic book, photo IDs, and the cinema. Together, the stories from a kaleidoscopic memory of growing up in 2 worlds, a brilliant mixture of cultural and family history. I remember I really liked it, gave it 5 stars. In the morning, we sang of the morning, and at night, we sang of the night. We did not sing of the night in the morning, nor of the morning at night. That would have been to turn the cosmic order inside out. The Inseparables by Simone de Beauvoir. This was my first book I've ever read by her. Right now, I'm reading The Woman Destroyed, which I'm loving. And the synopsis. When André, I think that's how you pronounce it. When André joins her school, Sylvie is immediately fascinated. André is small for her age, but walks with the confidence of an adult. Under her red coat, she hides terrible burn scars. And when she imagines beautiful things, she gets goosebumps. Secretly, Sylvie believes that André is a prodigy about whom books will be written. And baby, Sylvie was right. Just to explain it real fast, Sylvie is Simone. It's actually Simone de Beauvoir. And André is one of her real life friends. And she based this book on their relationship and on André's life, if you will. I don't want to give away too much. I think you should go into this book without knowing anything other than what I told you, because you're just gonna you want to go into it blind. The 7th book is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Harpman. So beautiful. It tackles loneliness, love, and confusion. Solitude was my favorite thing that it tackled, actually. And I don't know what it is about me. I love reading about characters that are alone and that think a lot, and characters that struggle to survive. Deep underground, 40 women live imprisoned in a cage, watched over by guards. The women have no memory of how they got there, no notion of time, and only a vague recollection of their lives before. A young girl, the 40th prisoner, sits alone and outcast in the corner. The synopsis goes on, but I chose only to read you this part because something happens that if you don't know about from the synopsis, it's better to be surprised when it comes. For me, I was surprised. I didn't know what this book was about at all. Basically, this young girl is absolutely different from the rest of the women in there. She does not remember life before being imprisoned in this cage, hence the name I Who Have Never Known Men. There's a lot of things that she has never done that all of these women have, and that translates into her behavior overall, and it is a beautiful story. I recommend it. A Virtuous Woman by Kay Gibbons. I don't even want to read you the synopsis because I feel like the book wasn't anything that the synopsis says it is. The synopsis is boring. Let me tell you. It's a story about loss, acceptance, marriage in old age, very touching. If I remember correctly, it's about this, I might just be spewing shit right now because I might not remember it. If I do remember it, we have this widower. We do get to see both of their perspectives on their marriage. My copy is destroyed, but it has a great cover, and this is the reason why I got it actually. I didn't know anything about it. It was one of the best decisions I ever made. Okay, the next part of this video, we're gonna talk about some Russian authors. So number 9. You remember how I told you that I love reading books about solitude and struggle, having to survive, being a really hard worker, and not really getting much in return? Yeah, this is what it is. The story of a greedy peasant named Pacom. Although Pacom enjoys health and family happiness, he feels dissatisfied when he learns of the grand fortunes of his relatives. He decides to go on a quest for more land, only to find that with each new acquisition, new problems develop. So it is about greed. Also, it's so good. Number 10. The Death of Ivan Ilych, also by Tolstoy. This short novel was an artistic culmination of a profound spiritual crisis in Tolstoy's life, a 9-year period following the publication of Anna Karenina, during which he wrote not a word of fiction, a thoroughly absorbing and at times terrifying glimpse into the abyss of death. It is also a strong statement to the possibility of finding spiritual salvation. I wish I would have the book with me so I could read you some quotes, but I don't. You just have to trust me. Again, the theme of solitude, of nearing the death of your life, the the end of your life, knowing it. I think he was also trying to settle some unresolved matters. Of course, it implies also his relationships with the people around him that know that he's gonna die, how those relationships change. I think, again, I might be spewing shit because I haven't read this in 4 years. I love Tolstoy. White Nights by Dostoevsky. You've probably read this if you're on the, I guess, TikTok trends. It is the story of a young man fighting his inner restlessness. A light and tender narrative. It delves into the torment and guilt of unrequited love. Both protagonists suffer from a deep sense of alienation that initially brings them together. That was so good. I remember a blend of romanticism and realism. Yes. Yes. And I would also say maybe a little bit of, how do you call that? Magic. No, there's no magic in this book. Why did I say that? I don't know. The story appeals gently to the senses and feelings. Yes, it does. Yes, it does appeal. It does. I do have White Nights here in this big ass volume of Dostoevsky short stories, in which we can find Notes from Underground as well, which is, I think, my favorite story that I've ever read written by Dostoevsky. Look at this. One could not help asking oneself whether ill-humored people and capricious people could live under such a sky. So simple yet so good. For if one chair is not standing in the same position as it stood the day before, I am not myself. I think that describes OCD. And what shall I have to dream of when I have been so happy in reality beside you? I gotta say, I remember a little bit of the story. So we have, I think, Nastenka is the girl, which is a beautiful name. The guy's name, I don't remember what it was, something like Ivanovich or Vasily or something like that for sure. How they told each other anything that they had in their mind, there was no filter. No filter at all. And it makes you feel a certain way. And if I remember correctly, it ends tragically. A very, very sad ending. You feel for the main character. You really do. These were the 11 picks that you can pick up today in order to finish your Goodreads reading goal. I was watching someone today saying that they don't have a Goodreads because they hate Amazon. And I hate Amazon too. Don't get me wrong. I probably will one day delete my Goodreads. But anyways, I digress. Again, if you want to pick only one book out of this bunch, it should be E.M. Forster's. Goodbye.